Well, good afternoon. I got Papa here with me, and we're stuck doing a small yard sale. I got a bunch of stuff on the table over there, and including a nice bicycle that we got for my other half, and she never rides it. It's a nice female bicycle, pink. It's got the best seat in the business, wide. She said, "I'm not a bicycle person." And I said, "I am. I used to ride bicycle all over town." I got stuff here from my mom. I got lamps and bric-a-brac and a lot of glass, decorations. And I've had a couple of nibbles so people can buy and look at things, but no bites. Oh, that was good coffee. And I'm gonna light up another Red Label. Mistaken the last time I smoked this cigar because I thought it was an Arturo Fuentes, and it's not. This is an H. Uchman. It comes in a pack of 5, and it impressed me, and I went and bought another pack. It's gonna be here probably tomorrow. And the reason I got confused is because to be able to smoke this, you gotta pull this wood sleeve that is attached to the ring, and when you pull it, there's no name on it, and it's impossible to remove it without pulling the whole thing off. And I'm gonna see if I can do this one hand. This is cedar. Man, it's got a good aroma. Maybe I should burn that too. Okay, see, the whole thing has to come out. So I was supposed to be at the boat today, but I decided to do this garage sale because if I don't sell something, I already sold the table with the chairs. My gardener bought it. And if I don't sell some of the stuff, I'm gonna donate it to the Goodwill because it's taking up room in the garage. They say that when you light up a cigar, you shouldn't put the flame right on it. Don't really know the reason why. Oh yeah, that smells. This is a keeper. H. Upman. H. Upman always has good cigars. Never have a problem with them. I usually smoke the Blue Label Golden Nicaragua, but they were sold out. They had a bunch of packets that they were sold out. So I saw this and I said, okay, I'll try it. And I went and bought another packet. I'm always trying different cigars so I can find the one that I can stick to. But I don't really like to buy a box because it's like eating. You don't want to eat the same thing every day, right? The same thing with a cigar. You don't want to smoke the same cigar day in and day out. So I got a disappointment when I went to sell the brass. I thought I was going to get quite a lot of money. I didn't get nothing that was because the guy will buy the stuff by the pound, and he was paying crap. And I said, well, I don't need it. And I got rid of it. I sold it. He paid it by the pound. Don't even ask me. It was embarrassing, but I got rid of it. I had a lot of shelves. Now that my table, it's more organized. I got room now because it was very, very crowded. I keep moving this stuff around, put them on the floor. I had those plastic buckets full of brass from this and the other thing, So now I got room, and I don't have this excessive. And I got all the powder that I recouped from the 7 Mag, because the 7 Mag carries a lot of powder. So now the plan is to sell I'm keeping the Magnum. I decided, unless I get top offer. If I get a top offer, then I will sell it. But the Weatherby, I'm gonna call this guy. I was thinking of calling him today. I might do that today, and say, hey, look, I have this 30-06 Weatherby. He charges 25% now. It used to be 20. to sell anything on consignment. So I can't do it with my friend no more because he sold his business to another dealer, and he doesn't deal in hunting rifles. He doesn't want to bother. I called him and I talked to his associate, and he said, nah, he don't want to deal with. He deals with his business is mostly doing a build-ups, and he's dealing a lot with the military. You know, the 308 semi-auto military Mac. What is it? Mac 10, the AR-15s, that kind of stuff. According to what this guy told me, he says he sells these specific guns that he builds custom. He sells them for about $8,000. So he's not going to be interested in only make $450. So I didn't even try to get a hold of him, get in touch with him to talk about this. I said, okay, well, thanks. Talk to his assistant, and that he gave me the information that I needed. So I'm going to call this other guy that he's a little more down to earth. It's just that he moved out of town. He's in Orange County. So instead of making the drive, I'm going to give him a call, see what he says. And if he says, let me see it, which is probably what he's wants to do, he might want to do the business. So that's that. And I decided on keeping the 7 Mag because, for one, it's a good handling gun, the most beautiful gun I have. There goes that Tesla that looks like a trash can container. That there was a video of somebody caught some raccoons on top of the car trying to pry it open, thinking it was a trash can. A boxy, weird-looking vehicle. So, anyways, it's a beautiful gun. Shoots very well, and I can keep it in the truck and decide if I'm gonna hunt with it where I go, if it's open or if it's if I have a view that I can shoot far with it and do things like that. It's a good backup. I've seen hunters that they carry even bigger magnums. There's a guy carrying a 300 Magnum. But they have these guns that they look military. They're hunting guns. Bolt action. It's just all black, and it's got the vented foregrip, and it's got the adjustable stock. It's a different look. It's not the traditional hunting rifle that me as an old dude like. The young guys like the military looking, but those are heavy. They're 12 pounds, sometimes more. But you've seen these guys shooting 800 yards, 1,000 yards. Jesus Christ, that's a long shot. And they're shooting all these modern calibers, the PRCs, all that stuff. So I'm a little late in the game for that, to start over buying that kind of, and they're very, very expensive too. So I want to keep what I got. It's not a lot, but it's good quality. If it was something junky, I say, yeah, get rid of it and get whatever you can. But this is a high quality rifle. I'm not going to let it go for peanuts. Sorry. So and then I was looking. You guys gonna think I'm crazy. I was looking at 44 Magnums because I've been watching and you know how you get influenced by other people's videos. I was watching old Chuck's Outdoors Adventures from Alaska, and he's always talking about the 10 millimeter, in Glock or in this and that. He swears by it that they've shot bears with the big bears, and it has enough power to knock them down. It's equivalent to a 357, but it's a semi-auto, which you get more quicker shots and you get more in the magazine. Instead of 6, you get 10. So you get 10 times more chances of hitting, and it's quick shots. It's semi-auto. But I'm not looking at semi-autos. I'm looking at revolvers because the revolvers are beautiful. So I was looking at the 44 Model 69, and some people say it's a backpacking gun. You can have it on you all day, you'll never feel it. It carries 6 shots, and some people say that if you shoot the hot load, then it hurts your hands because the grip is not the best on that particular gun. The Ruger makes one beefier, because Ruger's always been beefier, and the grip is better, but it's big and bulky and heavier. There's another one that's a 44. It's supposed to save you 4 ounces. I think the gun weighs 33 or 34 ounces, and it's got a 4-inch barrel, which I'm leaning more towards the 4-inch. 3.5 to 4-inch. I'm not crazy about 2.5 on 2 3/4. It's got to be over 3. 4 is better. You shoot more accurately with a 4. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, it hurts my hands," and especially a guy about my age, he was shooting it with gloves and he was complaining. So it depends on the load you put on them. But if you're gonna have a weak load, it's not gonna help you much when the bear shows up. And he's in Alaska, so they have a lot of bears, and Kodiaks and brown bears and big grizzlies and stuff. And then he has a website that people write to him what happened throughout the country. Somebody got jumped in the back east, or in Colorado, or in New Mexico, whatever, wherever there's a bear attack, and they write to him and they tell him what happened. They give him the whole story, and mainly what he wants to know is the caliber and the gun, because a lot of people are using the 10 millimeter, and some people are using the 44. But the 10 millimeter, the advantage is it's more ammo, less weight. Those are close to the body, they're slim. A lot of people swear by the Glock. They love that gun. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's an attractive gun. It's just a box, but it works. You want something that's going to work for you when you need it, but you have to keep it on you. I mean, I remember what happened to this poor guide in Wyoming, that he went hunting. He took this guy bow hunting for I think it was elk, and they shot an elk, and I guess part of his job was to clean the elk, gut it and stuff. That I think a guide should just say, "Hey, I'm guiding. You're the hunter. You hunt your game, and you clean it. I'm not gonna be," but he's probably providing the service. It's like this guy I took him fishing. He wanted me to clean the fish, and I said, "Do I look to you like a deckhand? I'm the skipper." "Oh, I'll give you $3. Okay, if you give me $20, I'm not gonna clean your fish. You killed it. You clean it." There's some people that are very dainty. They don't want to get dirty and get their hands messy. Get the hell out of here. What's wrong with you? And to this guy, I feel sorry for his wife and kids, because he was a young guy. He was late 20s, I think. Well, they shot the elk. He's gutting the elk. He left his gun. He took the belt off. Oh, he took the gun with the holster off. Put her on a rock somewhere, a few feet away, and he got jumped by a bear. I think it was a female, and she wanted that meat badly. He's fighting the bear with his own hands, trying to cover his face and his head, and the bear's growling and going at him. The bow hunter grabbed the gun. The gun wouldn't shoot, because instead of cycling another round, he just put the gun down and he ran up a hill with his phone. Meantime, the guy's getting chewed up and killed. Freaking idiot. You get the gun and you empty the gun into the bear, man. Save the dude. Help him. Do something. No, he ran with the phone. That was the excuse to call for help, because he needed a signal. He wasn't getting a signal down here. He went up the hill. Jesus Christ. If I'm a guide, my first rule would be, you come bow hunting, you bring a gun, and you show me that you know how to use the gun, and you show me you can hit what you're aiming with your gun. If you don't do that, you're not hunting with me. Period. Because he had his back to the bear. And I don't know what the idiot was doing. Probably looking away or just, you know? And all of a sudden this massive 400-pound animal or more, because those bears grow huge, you know, jumped the guy. What do you think a guy is going to do against a 400-pound animal? You think he's going to have enough weight and power to push away and no. You need the freaking gun in your hand. And that was one mistake he made. His last mistake. Because he made that mistake and the other idiot didn't try to cycle the gun and make it work. It's a Glock. Doesn't have any safety, doesn't have a hammer, doesn't have nothing. All you have to do is pull the freaking trigger. And he panicked because he wasn't familiar using guns. No, I wouldn't take it. To have it on you, even to go to sleep, man, you have it right there next to you. And that's what I do. When I will go back in the wilderness, I will have my rifle right there and my 357 right there and my flashlight right there, because the bear will come sniffing around your tent. I have a story. I gotta look it up because I got a bunch of old magazines. I gotta see if I can find it. I don't know if I threw it away, but in Yosemite, I think it was Yosemite, there was a bear number 34. The fishing game numbers, the bear. And the guy was backpacking into that area. In the middle of the night, bear came in, sniffing around, and just reached the end through the tent, ripped the tent, grabbed by the head, and dragged them out and killed them. He ate some, dragged them to a spot, and half buried him. Because they don't eat the whole carcass right there. They go bury it somewhere and they throw stuff on it. And they know where it is. They can come back later and feed on it when they're hungry. Or if they have cubs, they'll bring the cubs. It's okay here. So that's what happens when you're backpacking. If you're only a backpacker, you're anti-guns, I feel sorry for you because you're gonna get killed one day. Forget about the bear can. The bear can's not gonna help you against a hungry bear. It's gotta be special conditions. The wind has to be pretty much dead. The bear has to be at a certain distance. He has to be standing still, you know, wondering what's it gonna do with you. Is it gonna approach, or, you know? And that's when you use the spray because he's uncertain. He's mentally he's not ready, right? But you get a bear that's super hungry, charging at you. You think you're gonna stop him with a mist? You're dreaming. You're gonna stop a wild animal coming at you full bore, doing 40 miles an hour, and you think you're gonna stop him in his tracks? You're stupid or something. Those are those liberal magazines. Oh no, the poor bear. You're in his country. They go, no, you're in your country, and the bear lives there too. You just gotta be careful to protect yourself the right way. Their bear spray is not gonna die. It might help a little bit, maybe, in some particular circumstances. Everything has to be perfect for that to work. You need a magnum. You need power in your hand, wrist, with a can. Look what happened to that couple. There was a movie about it back in, I think it was Minnesota or Wisconsin, one of those places. This couple decided to go camping for a long weekend, I think it was. And they took a canoe and they crossed this big lake and they went on the other side. They started hiking with their packs. They went out. He proposed. He tried to do a romantic thing that they both like backpacking. You know, he got on his knees and he proposed to the girl, and the girl, yeah, I'll marry you, and got the ring and the whole thing. And then that night, they set up camp. They got in their tents, and they had a big spray can. not the little black ones that you see. And the bear attacked the tent because they heard it. They heard the bear sniffing and growl, getting up, getting ready to jump, and he actually attacked the tent, ripped the material. The guy grabbed the can, tried to activate it, but when you get in this panic mode that you're trembling and the adrenaline is rushing and all this stuff is happening and the girl's screaming, that doesn't make it any better. She's screaming her lungs out. The bear grabbed the guy by the leg and pulled him out, and you can hear the crunch and the guy's screaming, and he ripped his throat out and he killed him, screaming. He took him off, and the girl started running and she fell and she broke her ankle, and then she was panicking and breathing hard. And this is a night with no light, no nothing, because she left everything behind. She didn't have time to put up the little lamp and nothing and get her back or anything. She climbed up a tree with a broken ankle, and she stayed up there until the commotion died down and the bear moved away, because he ate part of the guy, and then when he had his fill, he went off, buried him somewhere, partially buried him, and went off in the direction, probably looking for her. And she was up there scared to death. I mean, yeah, I would be too. And she had no gun. It's like what happened with the guy trying to shoot the bear, jumping the guy that got attacked by the bear. He didn't know how to work the semi-automatic. Didn't figured on racking it back, chucking the bullet out, putting a new bullet in the chamber, and started shooting. He ran for his life. That's what he did. And then he said he was looking for a signal. So you need a revolver. Revolver never fails. Never fails. And I'll show you why. Okay, so let me explain about why I prefer revolvers. Okay, I'm going to show you my Dan Wesson 357. Let me empty it. This one here, you press here, and you pop it out. So, as you can tell, don't be panicky. The gun is empty. When I first took out the gun, I noticed that the gun was acting kind of gummy. So I stopped the video and I took out my cleaners and I cleaned it with, let me recommend this liquid. I cleaned it with the Break Free lubricant. It's a cleaner, lubricant, and a preservative. So I sprayed it in several places and then, wiped it down, the whole thing. But then I said, this is, I bought this used. And I said, I've never opened up the side. And I said, what if it's full of gunk, So I went and got my little wrenches and I took out the grip. And this gun is kind of funny because I thought it had the metal all the way around and then up like they usually do. This one, when you take it out, you have a little short knob here. The screw goes on the bottom and attaches to it. Well, you've probably seen the videos on the Dan Wessons. And then I open it up and I cleaned it with carb cleaner, shot it, blew it out, and then I greased it up. And now it's a lot smoother. Before it was kind of gummy. So let me check it again. It's empty. Okay, so now it's a lot smoother. Now I thought I could adjust the trigger. And the trigger is not adjustable. It doesn't have any type of adjustment. It doesn't have a screw or anything. But I think that the spring that's in here to activate this hammer is the one that you can play with and maybe make it softer. I'm guessing because I'm not a gunsmith. Since I didn't know how to remove the spring, you can also replace the spring. So the gun, I also took out my trigger gauge, and it's giving me 5.5 pounds. Sometimes it's 5 3/4. So I thought if I can bring it down maybe to 4, it would be better. But being that the gun has no adjustment, I couldn't do anything about it. And there's no other part. Some people take out the pieces and they buff it and stuff, and then they say it works a little smoother. This one didn't seem to have any rough edges inside, so I didn't do any buffing or anything. And I put it all back together with plenty of grease. It's a little smoother. This button here was kind of gummy. It doesn't go down all that much. It's got a little spring inside there too. So now, one thing about a gun, if you're going to buy a revolver, you have to know this, that the revolver, they have a timing mechanism or a timing adjustment. I went to a gun shop a few years ago, and I saw this revolver, and I asked for it. Let me see it. You know, it doesn't land where it's supposed to be. So I talked to the owner and I said, hey, your gun, if you sell it, that gun's not going to shoot. And he said, why not? I said, well, the timing is off. And I tried, you know, it was very smooth because it was clean and new. And it was a lot easier to rotate. Now, how do you check the timing? This is what you do. You pull the trigger, but you try not for the hammer to slam. So let's see if I can do it here, because this is not exactly the smoothest gun. You pull back, and just before it goes off, it's supposed to lock in place right there. So just right there, it's supposed to, because what happens is that the bullet, if it's not aligned with the barrel, the hammer is not going to hit the primer and it won't shoot. You probably will damage the hammer. If you have an old-fashioned hammer with the pin, that'll probably harm the pin because you're hitting on the edge of the cylinder instead of in the hole where the bullet is. So that's how you check the timing. You pull back and you stop just before the hammer goes off, and you check it. If see, this is not exactly smooth. I mean, it lands where it's supposed to once I do the whole pull, but I was able to control it right there. See, it's a little bit off. But in this one, when you pull back all the way, when it hits, it's on the money. So that's how you check timing before you purchase the gun. Now, why do you want a revolver? Especially for bears. If you're getting a 44 Magnum or any other type of revolver, you know, 357 like this one. The revolver has several things that are an advantage to the semi-automatic. The semi-automatic could jam, like what happened to the bow hunter, that he didn't know how to handle a gun and he couldn't get it to fire. There's a lot of things that if the gun gets jammed on anything that it doesn't allow it to close, like bear hair. All right, let me explain. You're gonna say, what do you mean bear hair? The bears have pretty long hairs, 6 to 7 inches, depending on the type of bear. That guy that I got attacked in Wyoming, this guy was hunting with his rifle, and this bear showed up and went at him. He pulled up the rifle, but he didn't get to shoot on time because the bear was right there, and the bear just swiped the gun, hit the barrel, and the gun went flying. Woof! Right? Well, it turns out later that they found out that the barrel of the rifle was bent. So in the struggle with the bear, even if it would have gotten a hold of the rifle, he couldn't shoot it because it probably would have blown up in his hands. And what happened was that the bear went at him, right, and just rolled over him, and the guy landed on his back with the bear on top of him. But the bear went over him too much, so the guy's head was down here, and the bear was trying to grab it, to bite it. You know, they usually go for the cranium. whatever they can grab, and try to bite it, right, to kill the guy. And the guy was under here with the bear on top, and the bear's going at him. So he managed to grab he had a sight gun. He pulled it out. He pulled out the gun, and he just went bang, 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 right into the chest or the belly, or the lower chest of the bear, and killed him. The bear took off and then died later on somewhere. And the advantage there is that a revolver is not going to get jammed by any hairs, because even if hairs get in the air in the little slit there, it's not going to impede the gun from working. If it was a semi-automatic, that the gun has to cycle, and if it grabs a bunch of that hair and it will not close correctly, and you won't be able to, the gun will not go off, you won't be able to shoot it. It's like you don't have a gun at all, because he's on top of you. You probably can't get your other hand under there, right? He's probably grabbing it or whatever. And then he couldn't shoot it if it was a semi-auto, but he had a 44 revolver, I believe. He had a 44. So he just emptied it. He just double action. Make sure it's a double action. If it's a single action, it's more movement for you, more action that you have to commit to, and the bear, it's biting you probably on the leg or back of the neck or whatever he's trying to get to. At least with one hand, you can do the job. You can pull the trigger and keep pulling that trigger. If it jams on you with a semi-auto, what makes you think, if you're lucky if you can get your hand under there and try to cycle the gun and unjam it, if it's a semi-automatic, so you can shoot it. So that's another advantage of the revolver. I was watching a podcast with Ron Spooner and another friend of his. He's a hunter, cowboy, and he has all these stories, and he says, because a lot of this stuff happens up there and it doesn't come down here. You don't hear this in the news. He said that there was a guy that he was hunting for sheds, looking for antlers dropped by deer and elk, right? This bear showed up and grabbed him by the arm, the left arm, and he just kind of, doing this stuff. And then he managed to grab his gun and just go boom, shoot him in the head, brain, and killed him. Things like that, if you're in bear country, you got to think about things like that. There was another thing that you don't hear about is the bear attacks. That's why the pro animal or anti-gun, more likely is the anti-gun people. They don't want you to use a gun to protect yourself against the bear. They want you to use a spray can, which is ridiculous. Spray can is going to work okay, like I said before, if the conditions are perfect. When he is at a decent distance, he's standing kind of looking at you, not sure what to do yet, But if it's a hungry bear coming out of hibernation, when spring comes around, all these nature people, let's go out there and see the flowers, because you get all the flowers blooming. The bear's coming out of hibernation, and the bears are going, let's go see out there what's to eat, because I haven't eaten in 4 months, and they're ravenous. They'll eat a shoe if you leave it there. So you have to have a freaking gun. You're not going to stop a charging bear doing 40 miles an hour with this. Are you kidding me? You're going to trust a can with your life? Really? That's how sure you are this is going to work? That the bear, you can go, and the bear just coming at you, and if there's a little breeze, it'll break up that mist, and he'll plow right through it and get to you, and you're going to be, no, man. So I don't give you the news, right? When there's a bear attack and somebody gets killed, they give you the news when a bear shows up and the people go with the spray and the bear turn around and leaves. And they say, oh, see, the can works. The bear can works. That spray is good. But they don't want to tell you when the bear wipe his butt with the spray and kills you. They don't want to say that. So what happened, just Chuck Outdoors, he was reading this news clip that happened, I think, 2 weeks ago. There was a 25-year-old Swiss girl came to the United States. She wanted to do the trails and be in the mountains. I've been up there. It's very pretty. And she set up her tent in a campground. She's not in the wild somewhere. She's in a campground. In the middle of the night, a bear went and grabbed her in her tent. Didn't even drag her. Just killed her right there and ate half her body. The next day when they found the blood outside and they went in and she was dead and ripped to pieces. You don't hear that in the news. You got to look it up. But if somebody goes and sprays a bear and it was successful because the bear wasn't really that aggressive, it's just that you bump into him and the bear turned around. Oh, the bear can is great. Just use the bear spray. Really? You're going to trust a spray can with your life? I wouldn't even trust a semi-automatic gun. This is what I trust, and the bigger the better. If you can carry a 454 Cazoo, a 44 Magnum, a 500 Smith & Wesson, it's better than a spray. So this is a 357 for black bears. That's what we have here. I think it's fair to say that I could do some damage because this is the same as a 10 millimeter. So give it a little shot here because I know that this thing's still a little gummy here. And this is a foam that it just travels and it goes in. There it goes. Disappeared. It's already gone. Look at that. And then you wipe the excess. Yeah. So you have to have a revolver for all the things that I mentioned because it will not jam on you unless the timing is bad. If you don't know how to do it, you tell the gun dealer, the gun store, and say, hey, can you check the timing for me with this revolver? And he'll go, sure. And he'll go click it, click it, click it. And the idea is that when it goes like this, it's locked. You don't want it to be like that and then does this. No. If it goes to the end, it's locked. That means that you're in line, primer, bullet, barrel. Everything is in line for the shot. And you do it several times. Make sure it falls where it's supposed to be in line with the barrel. Because that will be the only way the gun will not fire if it's not on time. If the timing is off, they can repair it. Or they can send it back to the manufacturing and they'll repair it. Because this is the only thing that's going to really save you from a charging bear. From a charging bear, not a curious bear. A charging, hungry bear. When an animal is hungry, they even eat their own cubs. The females, when they see a male and they have the female has a couple of cubs, she gets up in front of the cubs and she's like, get away from here, because she knows that he doesn't want to fight her. He wants to eat the cubs. And they have, and you see in the videos, they fight, they go at it, and she's protecting the cubs. In the same way she'll protect the cubs. If you pop along on the trail, she thinks that you're after the cubs because that's a mother instinct to protect the offsprings. So if you just, you're walking around the trail and I'm looking at the trees and all of a sudden you have a bear in front of you. Walk away slowly, never run. Back up, back up. I seen videos of people yelling and stuff and they say no. Like the bear knows what no means. There's a girl saying, hey bear, and doesn't that sound inviting? Hey bear. It's like, come here boy, come here bear. You say hey bear to a bear? Does that sound to you that you're shooing away the bear? Or do you start screaming and saying, at least you can say no, and the bear hears that and right away he knows that, hey, no, I don't want to go near this. But hey bear, what the hell? Who told you that? You better say hey bear with a gun in your hands because he's gonna go, here I am. You calling me? I'm here, It's funny what people do, And if you're in the wild, not even in the wild. Let's say you have a cabin in the mountains and there's a bunch of cabins around. There's animals there. There's a guy in Arizona that got killed having a cup of coffee in his front porch. And the bear showed up and killed him. Just like that. Didn't eat him or anything, just went and killed him and left. And then the neighbors chased him and they shot him. And that came out on the news in Arizona, not here. Over here, they don't wanna tell you anything. It's like they're doing this on purpose. Because all they think is about the animal protection, not about your protection. Because they don't want people walking around with guns. It's all about anti-guns, and they don't give a shit about you. They give a shit about the bear. Because according to them, you're in his country. Say, no, you're in your country, and the bear lives there too, but you gotta be careful. You know, the same thing with mountain lions. There's a couple of guys doing a trail, and then they look up to a rock, and there's a mountain lion, a serious-looking mountain lion. He looked pretty, he was big. He just looked at him like, come on, keep passing by so I can jump you. And they noticed it, and they backed away. A long time ago, I was bow hunting, and I went down this very, very long trail down into the Rattlesnake Trail, which is that takes you 2 hours to go down there. So I'm going on the trail and I see deer tracks on the dirt. And the trail is this narrow, and it's up a mountain like this, and then the mountain continues. So I'm walking on a little strip of dirt about a foot and a half wide, no more than that. If I trip, I'm going over the side. That's how steep it was. So I'm going and I see tracks, right? Okay, there's deer. And I keep going. And then behind, about 100 yards or so, I see bear tracks behind the deer tracks. I said, oh, okay, there's bear. So I kept lookout. And then further down, I see mountain lion tracks behind the deer and the bear. I'm going, boy, this trail is getting crowded. So now I'm not hunting for deer. I'm looking for mountain lions. So instead of looking at the trail, I'm looking up, because on the left there's a bunch of boulders, and they can just sit there and wait for anybody to come by, animal or people, and just boom, jump on you. So that's why you have, even if you're hunting with a bow, that's why you need to have a gun. And a gun is going to protect you instead of the can. I don't really know the reaction from a mountain lion if they get hit by a spray. I know it's a pepper spray. I don't know how potent it is. The bear spray, I have no confidence in it, because it could be terminal for you. And by the way, the animals like to use the roads and the trails because it's a lot easier than going over a bunch of sagebrush and thorny bushes or anything. It makes it more difficult to them. So they can just nice and easy walk on a dirt road, or walk on a path, than going across country the rough stuff. So yeah, if you want to carry a can, but some people use them and it just doesn't work. Not with a hungry bear. With a curious bear, maybe. But if you're in a tent in the middle of the night and you hear some commotion getting ready to happen, you're going to grab for a can or the gun. If you have the gun, I'm pretty sure you're going to go for the gun. Because it's going to be a split second before he goes, oh, do I shoot him with this or do I shoot him with that? Now, when he's already there, he already made up his mind that he wants you. Because he already smelled you, either yourself or the food you had before. He smelled the campfire. He smelled whatever you cooked, They have a pretty good snout. They don't have the best eyesight, but they have a very good nose. And I know a guy that he got chased by a bear out of the wilderness, and he dropped everything because the bear kept coming. He said he followed him for about more than a mile, and the bear kept coming. He didn't know what else to do, so he took off his pack and left it there to keep the bear busy while he got away. And when I met with him, He was coming out of the wilderness. I was going in, and he looked roughed up. He was scratched up because he started going through brushes and everything. He got panicky because that animal kept coming and kept coming. A 400, 500-pound bear. He kept coming and coming and coming, and they just wear you out. And if you climb up a tree, the black bears can climb up a tree too. Really easy, and they can get to you. So you better have something that you have more confidence in protecting your life with a piece like this. 357 minimum. If you like the semi-autos, okay, but make sure that thing is well lubricated. But like the guy in Wyoming, he got panicky. He didn't know what to do with the gun, and it's a Glock. Glock has nothing, no safety, no latches, no nothing, no hammer, and he still couldn't work it for some reason. He couldn't work the gun, and he dropped it. And he ran with his phone to make a call. By the time they showed up, the poor guy was dead, killed by the bear. If he would have had a revolver, you don't have to know much about the gun. All you have to do is pull the trigger, and this is a gun for dummies. All you do is pull the trigger. That's all you need to do is pull the trigger, because you have a gun that has a safety latch and it has a little ticket. No, by the time you figure it out, he's on top of you. You need an easy to work gun like this one. Easy to work, easy to load, easy to unload. The only mechanism, all you have to do is pull the hammer, and that's it. This is the way to go. So kiss the can goodbye if I was you, because if you're gonna rely with your family, if you're thinking your wife and kids, you're gonna rely on a spray can, you're a fool. If you want to take the spray can to make your wife think that you guys are going to be protected, then take it, but make sure you have a gun hidden away. She doesn't know about it. She's anti-gun. Say, no, babe, we'll take this. But you're going to have a gun behind you. You never know what's gonna happen in bear country. I'm gonna see if I can find that magazine that about Bear 34. I think it was Bear 54. That pulled the guy out of the ripped him to pieces. And I don't believe the guy had a gun. The guy was a hiker. I don't believe he had a gun. He wasn't hunting. He was just doing the trail. I know a pilot that he was a hiker. He's been to Kilimanjaro. He's been to all the Sierra Mountains and the Yosemite and National Yellowstone. And he's been everywhere. I don't think he had a gun. He got lucky, because he even told me, he says, take a toothpaste that does not have mint. I say, why is that? He goes, because they can smell it. They think it's food. And he says one time he was on his camp in the mountains up in the Sierras. I think it was around Yosemite. And he see little beady eyes in the darkness. He had the campfire going, and he was sitting there, and he says, yeah, I saw the little eyes. There were two of them, probably a cub and a mother, just kind of looking in his direction. So if you like that kind of stuff, I mean, I did it for a long time, but I always took a gun, and I was doing it by myself. So if I hear a noise around me in camp, the first thing I do is I grab a light and I grab my gun, and I come out like this, light and gun. What's there? What's there? Because you might be looking up and there's a bear standing right there in front of you. And he's not there to say howdy. He's there to rip you apart. You're going to be lunch or dinner. All right, guys. So that's my recommendation for you to buy a revolver. Nice Magnum. By the way, I weighed this gun. It weighs 34 ounces. It's one of the lightest one. Then it goes 44 and it goes 50, and depending on the model. It's a 3-inch Don Wesson. I like it. 3-inch will be my minimum. 4-inch is a little bit better because you get a little more straighter shot if you're going to shoot far. But this is the type of gun you will use for a bear, maybe no further than, I would say, 30 feet, 20 feet. If you have a 6-inch barrel, you can shoot the 100 feet. Just practice. Practice with with a lesser caliber, like a 38 special, and then you move up to the 357. So you get used to the recoil and everything. You get to know the gun and learn the gun. Get to know your gun in the darkness. So close your eyes or get in a closet and just instinctively just, put the bullets in there, get some blanks so you don't shoot yourself in the foot, and you pop them in there at night, because if something happens at night and you don't want to have your headlamp on, because then the bear's going to see where you are. It's better to do this in the darkness and get the gun ready to shoot. You need to learn. You need to learn it, how everything is moved, how everything works. Let's say you put a shell in there and the shell is not all the way in. You tap it in without looking. Just tap it in, close it, and bingo, you're ready to go. Get a revolver. That's my recommendation. Oh, also, I want to talk to you about the holster. Very important. If you wanna have a holster that is a one-hand operation, you don't need to do. If you have one like this with the flap over and you got the broach over here, and you gotta go ahead and snap it, tuck it over under, and then grab the handle of the gun and then pull it out. That's too many movements, and in a split second, when you're getting jumped by a bear, or you might get nervous and not get the thing, because you don't know how people are going to react. Everybody reacts differently to a dangerous situation. I recommend this holster finger snap. So right there, it's attached. When you're going to go for the gun real quick, all you have to do, unsnap it with your thumb and pull it out. And you do it with one hand in one quick flow, unsnap and pull it out. Because if you have another type, there's another type that goes over and attaches down. You have the one that has Velcro. It's that nylon material, and you have to grab the Velcro strip and rip it, and then go for the gun. And sometimes when you let go of the strip will land on the sticky surface there, and it will grip again. And at a moment of being jumped by a bear, a lot of things could happen with the wrong holster. So this holster was given to me by my father from a customer that his house. The guy was a gun owner. He was I don't think he hunted, but he would go shoot. He had a few guns, and the house burnt down. So my father was rebuilding the house, and he gave him a few things for me, because my dad says, "Oh, my son likes to hunt." He gave him this holster because I guess the gun got damaged. And this holster, it's a Bianchi, but it's not made for the Don Wesson. This is a holster for a Colt, 38 and 357. Bianchi number 5BHL. And let me tell you, when my dad gave me this, I didn't have that gun. That gun came way later. I kept it in the drawer, and I said, well, it's a nice holster, but I never had a gun for it. When I bought this, I had no holster. And when I brought it home, and then I said, oh, let me check the drawer, because I think I have something here. And then I went like this, and bingo. It fits like a glove. It's protected. It's very thick, very well made. The chamber falls exactly where the marking is for the barrel. The length of the gun is perfect. Look, the chamber goes there, and it has maybe a half an inch extra. It's not. It could be for a 4-inch, most likely, but this is a 3-inch, and it fits perfect. Every time I use it, I'm going, man, I got so lucky, because these things were going for about $60-$70. I don't know now what they go for. Probably 120. Everything's gone up. So when you're buying the gun, study the holster. See what kind of holster you like. If you like a side holster, rear, or a cross. And I always like the cross. So this is the way I wear it. Just unsnap it and pull it out really easy. It fits the gun pretty good, and that's what I recommend for your revolver. Get a Bianchi. There's some other brands. I can't remember the names, but get something that fits very nicely and is slim and everything for your revolver. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one.